Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to today's webinar with our Staying Social series entitled Email Marketing, Are You Missing a Trick? Presented by the lovely Lindsay Swales, CEO for Social Bee. My name is Neve, I'm the Senior Content Producer here at Hive and I'm filling in for Suzanne today. I just have some brief housekeeping to go through and then I'll hand straight over to Lindsay. I'm sure if you've attended any of our other previous webinars, you'll know some of this, so please do bear with me. Firstly, we are live, so please do be patient if there are any technical hiccups or problems. Hopefully we'll manage to avoid that though. Secondly, the chat function is open, so please use it. Say hello. I can see everyone sort of saying hello now, and let us know where you're dialing in from. If you do have any questions throughout the presentation, please drop those in the questions tab on the right, and I'll be able to put these to Lindsay at the end of the session. And finally, we will have some interactive polls for you to participate in, so keep an eye out for those. It'd be great to know what you think of the webinar series and today's webinar, so please do fill those out. With all of that out of the way, I'm delighted to hand over to Lindsay and hear all about how to make the most of email marketing. Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you, Neve. And hello, everybody. We've got people from literally all over the world today, which is fantastic, from Bangalore to London to lovely Cornwall. I haven't seen any Norfolk folk yet, which is where I'm from, but lovely to have you all here. And I really hope the next hour of my session is going to be actionable and useful for you. For any of you that have joined any of my webinars before, you'll know who I am. My name's Lindsay. But for those of you that don't, my name's Lindsay, and we're very privileged to have been able to run a number of webinars for the Hive group during this very difficult time. But what I want to share with you today is all about email marketing. And it's going to be interactive because I love an interactive session. So get your keyboards ready because I am going to be asking questions, and I might even pick somebody at random to do a live example with. But if you've got your cup of tea, you've got a chocolate biscuit, you've got a pencil or pen and paper, you're ready to write notes, let's crack on. These sessions are always recorded. So if I whistle stop through a bit quickly, you will be able to watch it back at your own leisure and just go back through, because we try to cover as much stuff as possible. And as Neve said, we're more than happy to take questions at the end of today's session. And as always, we'll be giving away 2 free consultancy sessions as well to try and help as many businesses as we can. So, oh, lovely. We've got Suffolk. Hi, Hayley. So email marketing, I don't know about you, but as a consumer, I get a lot of emails in my inbox. And in particular, it seems I've had even more since we've been in lockdown. It would give me the impression that businesses are thinking that email works, which it does. Incidentally, email is 40 times more effective at acquiring customers than Facebook and Twitter combined. So it's a serious tool. In my eyes, though, it's either underutilized or it is used and abused drastically. So hopefully today I can share with you some actionable hints and tips to think about. I'm going to be deep diving quite a lot. So some of this you might not need to use if you're not using email marketing already. But if you are using email marketing already, you can think about how to take it to the next level. But I'm fed up personally of hitting the delete button in my inbox on a regular basis because of all the emails that I'm just getting bombarded with, all focused on offers. So what I'd like to share with you over the next hour is thinking about how you can utilize this for your own organization. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is a number of key takeaways. First of all is thinking about having a strategy. Second of all is thinking about some of the tactics you can use for your email marketing and prospecting to encourage people to sign up. Thinking about setting some actual tangible goals, not just, yep, we've sent an email this week. Just the tick box exercise is no good for anybody. So if you are doing that, please stop doing it now, because it's a waste of your absolute precious time and it's probably not generating you much income. Thinking about mapping the journey of the customer. So if you have attended any of my or any of my amazing colleague sessions before, you know we're very focused on the customer, because if you work with the customer, sales will happen. And also thinking about improving your click-through rate and open rate. And if you are doing email marketing already, thinking about how you can do some A/B testing. So if you have any questions, please do drop them in the chat and we will answer them at the end of today's session. But before we move on to the next slide, I'd just like to know how many of you are actually doing email marketing for your organization. So put a quick yes or no in the chat bar and we'll have a see how many of you are doing email marketing at the moment. So probably 50-50. Yes, but not very often. Lots of no's, lots of yeses. So 50-50. So we've got both camps, and that's fine by me. But what I would like to start on is just reminding, it's almost like parking email marketing for a minute and thinking about the internet. Because if you have attended one of my sessions before, this slide will be familiar, but it is absolutely critical to consumers and as businesses of how we use the internet. And email is part of that. So it's really absolutely critical if you think about consumers and why we use the internet. So why I use the internet as a consumer, as Lindsay, why Neve used the internet, why Rosie, William, Derek, Janet, why we use the internet as consumers. We use the internet to answer solutions to problems. So we might have a problem like yesterday. I did a webinar, and literally just before the webinar happened, one of my dogs decided to go and chew the last toilet roll in my house. And I'm like, that's the last toilet roll in my house. I now have a problem. I need to go and order some toilet roll very quickly. So I have a problem. I need to go and solve that problem very quickly on the internet. Alongside that, I might have other problems, or not so much problems, but desires. As an example, just to disclose my age, I'm 40 years old. But in the last week, I've purchased a skateboard. Probably having a midlife crisis a little bit early at the moment. But hey, I'm all for being outside and love the outside world. And because I love bodyboarding and things, when I can't get to the sea, I want to be outside doing stuff as well. So rightly or wrongly, I've been searching online for a skateboard. So I had a problem or a desire, and I wanted to try and solve that. But as consumers, we go on to the internet to find solutions to problems, whether that's purchasing something, finding how-tos, and basically using the internet as part of our everyday role. Then alongside that, we have organizations. So the organizations use the internet. They suddenly discovered that the internet was there, and they're like, wow, we can be using this to sell. And absolutely, as an organization, you can use the internet to sell, but we have to, if you've seen my webinar before, find that sweet spot in the middle of achieving our business objectives, but actually answering the consumer and not harassing them, especially when it comes to email marketing. Because email marketing can be hugely powerful. And just to put the power around this, I've already said that email marketing is 40 times more powerful at driving sales than Facebook and Twitter combined. A second interesting stat is 91% of consumers open their email on a daily basis. Now, that is very, very powerful. But as I've said, too many organizations are jumping on the email bandwagon and just using it to send out offers. And I want to bring this to life today because it's really, really important. And it's also really important because when it comes to people purchasing online, especially if it's a big purchase, then they generally want 7 touch points. So it might be that they've landed on your website. They might think, I'll sign up to your email address, or it might be that I sign up to your social media accounts. So it's having brand awareness of your organization. But social email marketing is absolutely critical for one of the spokes in your wheels, because email marketing is a great way to think about bringing your business to life, reminding people that your business is there. And email marketing is no different to that. So it's really important when it comes to email marketing that you're thinking about, how am I trying to engage with my audience and be useful and engaging to them, not always hard selling, because none of us are particularly online to be hard sold to. And I'm going to talk through some examples today. Because this was my inbox yesterday, and this was an animated one, but I forgot to send it to Susanna, so this is my fault. But here is about 5 emails that I got just 2 days ago, and they all had offers on. They're all like, we've got this sale on, we've got this offer on. Funky Pigeon is probably the worst one I get in my email box at the moment. And these might be large, big brands, but you have exactly the same tactics, exactly the same platforms to play on. And that's the great thing about digital marketing. In today's world, it doesn't matter if you're Nike or if you're a small startup from Suffolk. You can use all of these channels in exactly the same way. And you have access to all of these channels for free in exactly the same way as Nike does. It's how you tactically use them within your organization to generate leads if you're B2B, or to generate sales if you're B2C, regardless of where you are in the world. But I find in my inbox, I just get sale after sale after offer after offer. And every business is doing it. It doesn't matter how high end they are. I've got an email in there from Aspinalls, which is a high end, I don't buy from them, my sister does, it was a gift, sort of handbags and things, to Waitrose. They're all just trying to plug me on offers. And if you think about it, it isn't always offers that are driving people. Sometimes it is, and we'll talk about that, but it isn't always about offers. It's about engaging with your audience and getting them to open your email. Because 45% of emails are considered spam by consumers. That's a huge amount. It's nearly half of the emails that are sent out. So my philosophy when it comes to email marketing is the same in anything else in digital. It's the 80-20 rule. Spend 80% of your time planning what you're going to be doing, analyzing and improving what you're going to be doing, and spend 20% of your time doing it. Because 69% of web customers are influenced by emails through that purchase journey. So through the stats I've already shared with you, it's a really, really powerful tool, but people don't often think about how to use this tool for their organization. So typically we see with email marketing, people are either doing it or they're not doing it. For those that you are doing it, you might have a strategy in place already. If you do, then great. If not, people might think, well, I'll just collect email addresses and think about what I should send them. Or they might just be doing it sporadically. My view is if you're not doing it, you should absolutely be email marketing, and hopefully today's session should help. If you're doing it and you don't have a strategy and you're just sending them randomly, then please stop, because you might get blacklisted by some of the email platforms. And if you are just emailing people for the sake of it, it's a bit like growing your friendship base. Like, you can't just make friends, you have to interact with them. And the same with email marketing. You have to like and trust a brand before you sign up, and then you have to be valuable, because it's so easy for people just to click that delete button. So don't just randomly collect emails. Think about reverse engineering, which I'm going to share with you today. But think about audience, think about attracting your audience. And I've got some examples to share with you, because email marketing, if I think about my user experience, and this is always how I try and think about things, when I'm searching for things, like I was searching for skateboards earlier this week, I was doing some research on skateboards, I was looking at reviews, I was looking at what ones to get for a beginner, because I've never done this in my life. And I was looking at YouTube videos, and I was landing on skateboard websites, and sometimes I was getting pop-ups within 2 seconds saying, sign up to our email list and get 10% off. They're literally hitting me bang between the middle of the eyes. And I'm like, I might have bought a skateboard from you. I didn't need the discount, but people are very keen to offer a discount to get your email list. But they're not telling me why to sign up. So you need to understand in terms of the intent of people. You'll have people, typically the way to collect email addresses, people get to your website. So obviously getting them to your website is first base. When they get to your website, you don't know the intent of the person. So you don't know if someone has raging intent and is desperate to buy your product or service today, or whether someone is just shopping around. So that is all around analyzing your audience on your website. But actually getting them to sign up to your email is a good first base, because when they have raging intent and think, actually, I'll purchase from you today, then obviously they've purchased from you, so you can email them. If they don't have that raging intent, and maybe they're just shopping around for thinking about what skateboard I should buy, like me, then if your email subscription is enticing enough for me, and I'm going to show you an example, then I might be willing to sign up to your email. And then you can nurture me with relevant emails that you think might be useful for me. So educational, inspiring, and entertaining. But ultimately, in my view, emails are permission to be in their inbox, and that is hugely powerful. But it can also, that power can be taken away pretty quickly, because they have basically said, I'm willing to receive your content in my inbox. Now, that's a privilege, and that's a privilege you shouldn't take advantage of. You should make sure that the emails you're sending them are getting opened, are getting clicked on, which I'm going to talk about later. Because if they're not, then change what you're doing. Because if people are not opening your emails, then something is wrong. You might be thinking, Lindsay, what's a good open rate for an email? So what an open rate is, for those of you that are not aware, is how many people see my email and click on it to open it. A click-through rate is someone that looks at my email and clicks on a link if there's one in there. So open rates are very varied. So there is no one size fits all. It will really depend on what sector you're in, what country you're in, what type of product you're selling. But if you measure against yourself, and obviously 0 is no opens, and you're aiming for like 0.5 to begin with, then 1%, then you can start to incrementally improve that. And I'm going to share some A/B testing later. But with so many emails being sent, at the moment, there's about 306 billion emails sent every day. So how can you make sure that if you are emailing people, you're standing out from the crowd, and you're encouraging people actually to not just open your email, but think about where they can go with it? But before I jump onto that, I want to think about how you can entice people to sign up for your email. The thing is, emails are generally for 3 reasons. First of all, is to encourage people to buy from you. Second of all is buy more from you. And third of all is buy other things from you. So as a digital agency ourselves, we obviously want people to buy our services or our training, but we don't just want them to buy one thing. We want them to buy other things as well. And you will probably be the same, whether you sell sweets, whether you sell lights, whether you sell cars. If people have taken the time to sign up for an email with you, ultimately you want them to buy from you, because if not, you wouldn't be emailing them. But the area that people fall into is they get people to sign up and then they just start hounding them with offers. And I'm going to share with you an example of how that can work if that is the type of business you are. But also, if you think about Funky Pigeon, I've been using Funky Pigeon on and off for years, and even more so recently, because obviously if I'm in lockdown, I'm not going into supermarkets, but I want to pick cards for my niece's birthday, my husband's wedding anniversary, which is today. We celebrate 14 years. And I want to buy cards, but it's not driven through offer. It's driven through my intent of, okay, I've got some birthdays this week, I need to buy. So Funky Pigeon could send the occasional offer by all means. But when I looked at my email, I was getting an offer from them every other day. And I'm like, no, I'm not, even if you give me an offer at the right day, I'm not buying from you, because I'm just going to go online and log in. I don't need to be able to I don't need the offer to purchase. It might work for them. I don't know. Obviously, they're not a client of mine. But thinking about what value could Funky Pigeon add to me, to think about what could be relevant for me at this time, and thinking about resonating with me as someone who is stuck at home, and thinking about a great idea for sending an even more personalized card at this difficult time. So it's about inspiring people. It's not about giving them a big hefty offer to try and get them to purchase. So what it's really about is educating, inspiring and entertaining, but ultimately thinking about the bigger picture of, yes, I do want to sell you that service. So here is an example of one organization who I've known for many years. And this is a good example of this. So this is a property finding company. They're called Garrington. By all means, go and have a look. And they provide property finding services. And the way they encourage people to sign up, which I think is a good way, is they know that people will be proactively looking on the internet for a property finder. So a property finder, for those of you that are not aware, is someone that doesn't have time to find a property in their local area, or maybe they're relocating from another country and they want an expert to be able to find them their ideal home. So you will either know who your property finder is, or you might be thinking about moving to a new area and you might find one of their blog posts on the internet. And so when you've found them, you might think, okay, well, I'm not looking for a house today, but I'm interested in what they have to say. And I can see that if I sign up to their newsletter, it's a bit small in this screen, but you can see just above where it says sign up to their newsletter, it says sign up for our newsletter to get market review. So it isn't just sign up to our newsletter, because from my point of view, I think, well, what's your newsletter going to give me? So my first core tip here is, if you have an area for people to sign up, tell people what they're going to get. Is it hints and tips? Is it offers? Is it offers and exclusive information? What's going to be value for your customer? So think about what's going to be value, not just offers. It might be offers, but what else is going to be valuable? Garrington is all about giving market review, because they know if people are thinking about are moving house or where to move to, then actually a property market review would be really useful, and it keeps them front of mind. It's tapping into the box of, well, if you are going to buy and we email you once a month with our market review, hopefully you'll remember that we're here, and because we give you credible information, you might choose to buy from us in the future. So it's not just asking them to sign up, because I see this every day of the week. I get, I'll go on a website and I'll say, sign up. And I'm like, yeah, but for what? What's the value? What's in it for me as a consumer, regardless if I'm B2B or B2C? Here is another example, and this is sort of an exit email opportunity. So we often see these as well, but I think they're used too quickly on websites. Sometimes you'll see this if you haven't been to a website before, you suddenly get this pop-up. And as I was saying on the skateboard websites, I've been on there 10 seconds and I get this pop-up. Sign up and get 10% off. I'm like, I don't even know if you sell the sort of thing I'm on about yet. Why don't you just give me a bit of breathing space to have a look around your website? And how about you set up, when I move my mouse to the top right-hand corner, you give me a pop-up, because you can then see potentially I'm going to leave. Then why not give me a pop-up and say, actually, I've got this useful resource for you. And here is one. It's a useful resource, how to analyze the customer journey. Sign up to our newsletter. And what's your challenge at the moment? Because clearly you're on our website because you've got a challenge. So this is a B2B example. This is actually our website. We're saying, okay, you've been on our website, you've been on some core pages, we know you're about to leave, but how about have this free resource? Because if you're on our website, clearly you're looking for something. Clearly, you probably have some sort of digital problem. So have a free resource from us. And while you're here, why not tick one or more of these boxes? Because subject to what box you tick will be subject then to what email you get from us to be useful for you, to remind you that we're here as well. So it's about educating. Alongside that, you can encourage people to sign up for offers. This is a great example of an eco toy brand, Jimny. And this doesn't pop up and hit you in the middle of the eyes. This is a little present on the left-hand side. And if you're looking around the website, so it's very subtle, but you think, oh, what's that little present over there? And you click on it. And it's a fun way to think, actually, yeah, I'm willing to sign up to your newsletter to get offers and information on how I can be a more eco-friendly parent, but also I can get an offer. So it's like spin the wheel and see if you get an offer, and it might think, yeah, that's fun, willing to give my email address, and I might get an offer at the same time. So it might actually encourage me to purchase that day. Ultimately, what email marketing boils down to, as anything else on digital marketing, is consumers. Consumers are the most effective consultants your business can hire. So the more you can listen to them, the more you can think about their user journey, the more powerful email marketing and digital marketing can be for you. If you don't listen to them and think, oh, I've got email, let's start emailing them, and you don't listen to the pages they're visiting on your website or what might be useful for them, then email is just another tool like everything else, and potentially is not useful for you. So it's really important to think about not having that sales mindset, but having the value mindset, and thinking about, if someone is visiting my website, what type of person are they? Or what are they interested in? So the skateboard website, for example, could offer me sign up to our email newsletter and then tick, are you a beginner? Are you an advanced skateboarder? Are you into doing tricks and stuff like that? We want to know what you are, and then we'll send you more relevant content. And if you've attended my content webinar, which was, I think, last week or the week before, if you haven't, then go back and look at the recording. That's a great area in terms of thinking about creating content that actually resonates with your audience, and you can use that for email marketing. But you can email all of your database. So the examples I've shared with you so far are probably just emailing a segment of your database, and I'm going to share that some segmentation stuff later with you. But there is no harm in emailing all of your database if it is relevant. So this example here is from KLM, and I'm just going to let Neve hit the play button first so you can see this whole video. So we've recorded it so you can see the whole video of the KLM email. So Neve, if you can click play, please. So this email here was sent to all of the KLM database, and it came in my inbox last week, I think. And this is unusual because most airlines have, if you've been receiving emails from any airlines, you'll have probably been seeing emails with offers on, like book a flight for £1 or book a flight for £20 or €20. They're trying to tap in to the offer mentality. And I think that is really wrong, because with COVID happening right now, it doesn't matter how much your flights are. I was lucky enough to travel a lot for work, so I was traveling pretty much every other week, and I love traveling. But it isn't about the money. It's about my safety at the moment. And this email is great because, first of all, it talks about the destinations they're now flying to. It then talks about, subject to where you're going, what the access measures are in every country. So if you are thinking about going to Amsterdam or Spain or Hanoi, what you'll be expected to do when you get there. So it's giving you peace of mind. So first of all, it's saying we are now flying. Second of all, it's telling me where they're flying. So regardless of whether I'm flying for business or for pleasure, it's educating me on that. It's also educating me on actually what to expect, subject to where I'm traveling. It also educates me, when you scroll to the bottom, of flexible booking. So they know that everyone is probably feeling very uneasy at the moment on booking any flights, because you might think, is there going to be a second round of COVID? Are countries going to go into shutdown? So they're ticking all of my boxes, and by emailing me, they know that I've either flown with them before or I'm interested in flying. So actually this email going to everybody ticks all of those boxes and is a really broad brush approach. The second example is Neil's Yard. And if Neve can click play for me, please. This is an email that went to, I received it on the 29th of March. And the email subject was a helping hand in difficult times. And this email went to everybody, I would assume, because it is relevant to everyone on their database. Neil's Yard is a skincare brand. They do organic skincare. I am a customer of theirs. I talk about them quite a lot. They're not they're not a customer of mine, but I buy products from them because I like the way they market to me, and it's all about my interests and what's they've really targeted me really well. But this email went out to everybody, and it was timely and it was relevant to everybody. So first of all, the subject was a helping hand during difficult times. So first of all, they were raising, acknowledging and saying, we know everyone has a difficult time, but we also know that since lockdown, everyone, obviously we all wash our hands because we're very hygienic anyway, but we've been told to wash our hands even more. So in that email there, you can see that they are educating you and saying, look, we know your hands are probably very sore right now. I know mine were cracked lots. So they're educating you and saying how to wash your hands, because there's no harm in reminding you about that, how to look after your hands. So they're not just selling you a product, they're giving you some hints on tips on how to look after your hands when you are washing them so much. So it's very relevant, it's very helpful, it's very educating. Now, I don't know the sales results from that email, but I would anticipate they would have had some good sales for that. Now, I now want to share one example of an email that does just focus on offers. So if Neve, if you can press play on this one, please, that would be fantastic. So this is Sports Pursuit, and this brand is all about offers. So I would only expect to get discounts from this email, which you can see here. So this brand, if you, I found out about them from a friend who I work with, and we're both outsiders, so we love outside space. You know, we love skiing, scuba diving, snowboarding, etc. So I'm all into outdoor clothing, and outdoor clothing is blooming expensive. So he said, Lindsay, there's this Sports Pursuit website, and basically the brands, if they've got an end of line or if they've got a product they don't want to sell anymore, they sell it on Sports Pursuit. So when I go to Sports Pursuit, I know that if I'm going to sign up to an email from them, it's all about offers. And you can see that in the email. So they have the right. It's a perfect email for them, thinking about the intent of their audience. It's all about offers. That's the only reason I'm signing up to them. I'm not signing up to know how to ski or how to do something else. I know fully well what I'm getting signed into. So it's a really useful email in terms of thinking it is relevant to send to everybody, and it's all about the offer. But it's really useful to think about when it comes to email marketing that your email marketing should, much like everything else on digital marketing, should be aligned to your overall organizational goals. So the KPIs should not just be set around sales. It should be all around thinking about your overall marketing objectives. So it should be thinking about your sales, absolutely, but it should be thinking about improving your conversion rate, improving the number of people that purchase from you on a regular basis, maybe improving the basket size, and thinking about your overall organizational objectives. Because if it isn't aligned to that, if email is just, well, I've just got this email on the side here, and I'll just use it ad hoc, it's not really generating you any income. So like I said, if you have any questions today, please do drop them in the chat and I'll answer them at the end. But there's some other KPIs that are really important to measure if you are doing email marketing or if you're thinking about starting out. The first one is open rate. So open rate is like your first base that you need to get to, because I touched on, if you're getting people signed up to your email list, whether it's part of the transactional process, which is really powerful. So if people are purchasing from you, then you should email them and they open even more emails if you've had a transaction with you, or encouraging them to sign up to start to become aware of your brand. Then opening your email is the first base. And if you're getting a very low percentage email open rate, like 0.2, then clearly your email subject is not enticing enough for them. And it doesn't need to be an offer. It needs to be resonating with them, because an email subject line will dictate to me whether I open or don't open your email or not. And if it is just 50% off and it's from someone like Waitrose, and I'm like, I haven't done my food shopping yet. I'm not really driven by an offer. I'm driven by the types of food I want to buy at the moment. If it's Sport Pursuit and it's 50% off salmon, then yes, I'm probably going to open it. The second thing is click-through rate. So click-through rate is when someone has opened your email, if you have a link within your email that takes them to do something. So whether it is to sign up to something or read a blog or listen to a podcast or sign up for a webinar, then that is your click-through rate. So that is someone that has viewed your email and clicked on any one of the links within your email. The second of all is conversion rate. So conversion rate, if you set up your Google Analytics correctly alongside your email marketing, then it means that if you have got someone to open your email, they've then clicked through and they've then gone on to purchase something, or they've gone on to sign up for something. It might be that you've got them to sign up for a free webinar like today. Then that would be your conversion rate, because Open rate is great, click-through rate is great, but what do you want them to achieve? What does success look like for you? Why are you sending this email? Who are you sending it to? What do you want them to make them aware of? And what do you want them to say yes to? So a conversion rate is getting them to say yes to something. That doesn't necessarily mean pound signs or euro signs. It can just be saying to sign up for something or reading something. Fourth is bounce rate. Now, without getting too technical today, there are two types of bounce rate. The first one is a hard bounce. So if you use something like generally the most popular email systems are MailChimp, ConvertKit, or Campaign Monitor. They are generally the three main ones. If you have any one of those systems, when you've sent an email, it will say you've got this percentage of bounce rate. And if you click on it, it will say hard bounce and soft bounce. A hard bounce is if someone's email address is incorrect or they don't work for that organization anymore. So as an example, my name is Lindsay. So my email address would be LYNSEY. If I had typed it in incorrectly, then they would get a hard bounce back and it would be hard bounce. So hard bounces need to be cleaned up in your database. You then have what is called a soft bounce. So a soft bounce is if you've emailed someone and their email box is full. So you've not done anything wrong. A soft bounce is their email box is full at the moment, but that's fine. We will potentially get that email to them later. The fifth thing is list through rate. So you will naturally get a deterioration in your email list rate. Generally, it's about 22% a year. So 22% a year, you will get a natural deterioration of your email list. So first of all, it's important to keep your email list up to date. If you get hard bounces, delete them. If people aren't opening your email, so maybe you are getting a good email open rate, but you've got a percentage of people that haven't opened your email in the last 6 months, delete them. Clean it up. Because it's not about having the biggest email list in the world. It's about having the best, most highest quality email list in the world. Because by having the best high quality, it's about quality, not quantity of what you're doing. So a list through rate is how you are growing your email list. And obviously you want to grow it. We work really hard at growing our email list, but not just with any random people. We want to grow our email list that is relevant people that have a problem that we can potentially solve, and also grow our email list with people that potentially might buy from us in the future and share relevant information with them. The last thing is overall ROI, so overall return on investment. From the stuff that you're doing on email marketing, is it generating you a return on investment? Email marketing is like social media. It's free, but it takes a lot of time. And if it takes you a lot of time, it's costing you money. So is it generating return on investment in any shape or form? So I'd like to ask you a question in terms of thinking about content and email marketing, and I'll pick somebody at random. I'd like you to share in the chat your company name, what your company does, and I will pick something that you could maybe email your audience to engage them rather than trying to go for the cold sell. So in the chat, please put your company name, what your company does. So as an example, if you're a gardening company and you sell garden plants, then tell me, and I will come up with what type of content you could share with people. Okay, so let's pick one at random. I saw something interesting. I always say grab a cup of tea and a chocolate biscuit at the beginning of my webinars. And there was one here that does tea subscription. That sounds very exciting. But it's a good subject because people might even know a tea subscription exists. They might think, oh, I've got my certain tea. But probably if people have visited your website, they're either interested in tea for themselves or they're interested in tea for a gift for people. So I would potentially suggest for an email sign up is sign up to our newsletter to get hints and tips and ideas on different types of tea. And then you can share with them how tea is made. You can share with them some of your latest things as well. Because if people open your email and it's about tea and about the latest blend of tea that people might think about trying, this is not a sales tactic. This is an education tactic. Because if they're on your website and they're thinking about they like tea, then they're more interested. They're going to be very keen to get hints and tips on different types of tea and how different types of tea can maybe help you relax or invigorate you, or where your tea comes from. So educational stuff around that can be useful. But alongside that email, at the bottom, you could put, we've got this new tea out. It might be, I don't know, mint and lemon tea as an example. If you're thinking about this new tea, then come along and purchase it. So it isn't always about the offer of the subscription. Let's pick another one. Goodness, there are so many different ones here. I'm trying to pick a difficult one because I don't want to pick an easy one because easy ones are easy to go for. Let's go for a wholesaler. There's a wholesaler that sells small, they sell things to small convenience stores. So I'm guessing, Halle, that you sell food to small convenience stores. So you might think, oh, this is B2B, it's selling to wholesalers. Why would wholesalers want to receive an email from me? First of all, B2B is a huge space for email. And actually, a huge percentage of B2B businesses use email as a predominant tactic to generate sales. So with convenience stores, if they were visiting my website, I would probably get the email sign up focused on thinking about how sign up for the latest trends on what is popular for people to purchase in convenience stores, because I'm adding value. Because as a convenience store, you'll have, you know, the baked beans, the can of baked beans, tea, coffee, etc., etc. But you'll only know what is selling because you sell it. You won't know what is actually trendy to be sold, but not in your store. So why not think about getting them to sign up to, we will tell you what is hot and what is not in convenience stores right now, because you're not only educating them, you're potentially going to get them to upsell. So it might be, as an example, that convenience, I mean, this isn't rocket science, but convenience stores, there is a huge demand for and hand sanitizer. So you would email them and say, hand sanitizer sales have gone up this percentage. People are buying them from all sorts of places. Here's some hints and tips of selling hand sanitizer and also where to place it in your store. You're not only educating them, but you're adding value to them, and you're also keeping yourself front of mind. So hopefully that's just two random good examples off the top of my head. They might not be perfect examples, but give you an idea in terms of thinking about why people should sign up. So on your website where it says sign up, not just having a sign up to our newsletter, but adding value. So now let's move on to mastering segmentation and personalization, because the truth is that about 90% of your audience is likely to favor personalized content. And what I mean by personalized content doesn't mean in the subject line it should say Lindsay. That's like basic personalization, and that doesn't always work. But thinking about being personalized subject to intent. So as you saw from the B2B example I shared with you earlier, the one that we do on our website, we get people to tick boxes. So we will sign them up to our mass newsletter, and our mass newsletter generally goes out a couple of times a month, and it will have our YouTube live on that we do. We've got one going next Tuesday. It will share with people the digital roundup, because that is useful for everybody. But other than that, you will never see an email from us saying, we've got this offer, we've got that offer. Generally, like, I think we've probably done it once in a blue moon. So there is an email that goes to all of our database. But we've tried to really improve our database in the last couple of years, which is why when we get people to sign up, we ask them what their challenges are, because it's relevant for us and it's relevant to the people that are on our website. If they're on our website, they have a challenge. So what is it? If you tell us, tick the box, we will then segment you. And you can do segmentation through MailChimp, through ConvertKit, and through Campaign Monitor. And this is why I said earlier, you need to reverse engineer it. Don't just start collecting email addresses, because you'll have this email database full of people that you know nothing about other than their email address. So think about it, and you can adapt it. So think about when people are purchasing from you, what things they might be interested in or what problems they may have. So it might be that you just ask them a couple of questions. But if you reverse engineer it, it means that when you're then setting up MailChimp, ConvertKit or Campaign Monitor, you set up these segments. And then if people tick certain boxes, it automatically puts them in them segments. So you're basically not having to go, oh, this person's ticked this box, I need to put them over here. It's called automation. And then what you can do is start to think about, well, if people are in this box, this is the type of email they want to receive. So when people sign up to our email, first of all, there is a video of me saying, thanks for signing up. They get an immediate email saying, thanks for signing up, and what they're going to get from us. It will say they're going to get our monthly email, but they'll also, subject to what they signed up for, get emails from Ellie or Paul. So we're telling them straight away what they're going to get. And then they're going on an automated journey. And that isn't an automated journey to sell them anything. It is just about educating them, because that's what's really important to our audience. But there's nothing stopping if you were someone like Sports Pursuit. Obviously, it'd be a very different journey. So that's just one example. But think about the end in mind. Think about what important factors can be used to personalize it for people. So think about the two examples I just shared with you about the tea company or about the wholesaler. and map out each journey. But don't forget the transactional journey too, because the transactional journey is when people purchase something. So generally you will see if someone goes to a website like Denby, for example, if you go to the Denby website and you put something in your cart and you start to check out, but you don't complete that checkout, you will get what is called an abandoned cart email. That is a transactional email. I haven't quite purchased yet, but I am thinking about purchasing. And cart abandonment email, sending one about an hour after people haven't purchased, you are more likely to get 6% plus conversion rate on that person that abandoned cart. So, more important, if you send 3 abandoned cart emails, you'll yield actually 69% higher conversion rate. So they're email journeys you should be thinking about as well. But alongside that, think about transactional emails, because if people do go on to purchase, whether they go into abandoned cart or whether they go on to purchase, then obviously as soon as I've purchased, and I did some purchasing yesterday. I'm doing lots of online purchasing at the moment because obviously I'm stuck in lockdown and I don't want to go into any stores, unfortunately. So I am purchasing a lot online, but as soon as I purchase, what do we all do? We go to our inbox to check we've received that email. So the open rate percentage of a transactional email is huge. So what will happen is if people are expecting that email, what else could you be educating them on in that email? And because they are then in that purchase journey, think about if they want to change something or if they want to increase their order, and what other subtle messages could you be sharing with them? So here is an example of a great email. Neve, if you don't mind pressing play, please, that would be fantastic. This is an email done really, really well. So this is, I'm just going to chat you through this whole journey with Neal's Yard. So I was not a Neal's Yard customer at all. And I know this is a national brand example, but there's nothing stopping you as a small brand actually adapting this tactic as well. So I wasn't Neal's Yard brand. I wasn't a Neal's Yard customer whatsoever. I was aware of the brand, but I hadn't purchased from them. And I'm really not into makeup and skincare and stuff like that. I'm not that type of person. But they targeted me. They targeted me on Facebook ads with an ad focused on this rose balm stuff, this rose balm. And they targeted me based on my interests. And my interests are, I love being outside. I am of a certain age group, which they would have targeted. I'm female. I'm interested in like eco, natural health things, all stuff like that. So they basically targeted me based on my interests. And they targeted me and they said, there's this one pot that does 10 different things. And being the type of person I am, I'm not really interested in skincare stuff. I'm all for one pot that does 10 things because I don't want a pot for everything. Travel a lot. And if one pot does 10 things, then I'm really, really happy. So I looked at the ad and thought, oh, that's interesting. Let me have a look. I visited the website and I was like, I'm going to give this pot a go. I mean, if it says what it does on the tin, then I'm up for giving it a go. So I went into the store. I purchased the product. So they don't know that that transaction has happened. That's like quite a fragmented normal journey. But they then said to me when I purchased the product, would you like an email receipt, Lindsay? And I said, yes, I would. Thank you. So they emailed me a receipt. And this is the email I got. They emailed me the receipt and I got this email 7 days later. So it's very targeted just on people that have purchased that pot. How do you use yours? So first of all, I'm going to open it because I'm like, yeah, I purchased that product. Secondly, they're saying, how do you use yours? Because we've suggested 10 ways, but we know there are so many other ways to use the pot. We want to know how you use yours and why not give us a review at the same time. So it's fantastically targeted email. And of course, I opened it. And I've since gone on to purchase other things because they email me other useful emails. And my skincare brand bag is now full of stuff. But incidentally, they've definitely honed down their marketing during COVID. And because they have honed down their targeted emails and they have been relevant, but they've definitely cut budgets. I've been targeted by Tropic Skincare, and I've started to purchase the Tropic Skincare products, which some I like, some I don't. So actually, Neal's Yard has now lost an opportunity. Neve, someone has just asked if we can play the video again. Could we just play that video again so people can have a look at it, please, if that's possible? So as you can see here, it's saying, how do you use yours? It's very targeted at me. If you're liking it, please leave a review. Why not share on social media? So it's a very subtle but relevant way of engaging with your target audience. Super ad, very simple, but it's joining up what you do in traditional sense into an online sense. But there's nothing stopping you if you just sell online doing that joined up journey. So basically you're saying, you'd put me into a segment and say, I've just purchased this product, all joined up, and you can do it. So it's a fantastic example. So all in all, it's really thinking about having a plan and working it backwards, but fundamentally thinking, being really harsh with yourself. If you are email marketing and it's not generating any revenue, any inquiries or any tangible benefit, then stop it. Don't think, oh, but we've been sending a weekly email for years. If people aren't reading it, then just stop it. Stop it, start again and thinking about how things can really add value and working it backwards. Because if you spend 80% of your time planning things and 20% doing, it's a much more profitable way of you using digital marketing without just thinking, oh my goodness, I've got so much to do. Now, I just want to round things off with doing A/B testing. So A/B testing is, it might be that you have an email strategy and it might be that your emails are not doing particularly well, or they might be doing well and you want them to do better. So this is why A/B testing is really important. First of all, it helps you to get to understand your audience even better. Secondly, you can trial different email formats. You can understand what they like and what they don't like. And finally, you'll get better results. So why would you not want to A/B test? A/B testing can improve your conversion rate by 49%. So if you want to increase your conversion rate by 49%, then take this as a core actionable takeaway. We did this and we're constantly A/B testing. And just to bring this to life, we were doing HTML emails. So the Neil's Yard is classed as a HTML email. It's basically very flash. It's very colorful. It's got pictures on it. And there is a time and a place for that. So it works for them. We were doing HTML emails and our open rate was 13%. So our open rate for emails was very good, but we wanted to make it better. So Paul, my fantastic colleague, started to do plain text emails because we'd seen through what's relevant to our audience that plain text emails could work better. So we did some A/B testing. Our open rate increased to 30%. So our email open rate is 30%. We've also done some A/B testing on click-through rate, and our click-through rate was about generally 0.4%. So it was okay. It wasn't bad, but it could be better. Our click-through rate is now 5%. Sometimes it's even higher. So for a digital agency, that is a very high open rate and click-through rate in the agency sector. So it's because we A/B tested. But the key things to bear in mind when it comes to A/B testing is, first of all, just test one thing. Please don't think, well, I'll test email subject, I'll test doing a HTML email versus a plain text email. Just test one thing at a time, because if you don't test one thing at a time, you're not going to know what's worked. So please don't get crazy with your A/B testing. Say, okay, start of a 10, let's see if we can improve our open rate. So you'd tweak your email subject. You wouldn't change anything else in your email. You'd just change two variables on your email subject. First of all, alongside this is identify your goal. So what are you trying to achieve? Because sometimes people will do an A/B test and will go, okay, we'll change the subject, but we don't know what the goal is. So it might be, we'll just see what happens. And again, you won't know what's worked. So if you think about, okay, we want to improve our open rate, that is the goal that you're trying to achieve. Because if you don't pick a goal to try and achieve and you just look at them, you go, well, actually, the open rate was good on this, but the click-through rate was good on that. And you'll then get in a muddle. So identify your goal. Then you'd pick a control and a challenger. So a control is the email you've always been sending. So the typical type of email subject, the typical type of HTML, and then you'd pick a challenger. So we kept our email subjects the same, and we did plain text email, and we did HTML email through one of our things. Then split a sample group equally and randomly, but make sure you send the emails at the same time on the same day, because if you don't do that, you're not measuring like for like. Then decide on how significant your results need to be to decide whether your challenger worked or whether your control worked. So only test one thing at a time. And this is a checklist. So you can take this away and use this as a checklist within your organization, because it's a really powerful thing to think about when you are email marketing, thinking about how to challenge and make things better. So finally, if you haven't got to this conclusion already, you need to be relevant or you're going to be deleted and put in the trash can, or people are going to report you for spam, or they're going to unsubscribe. And that is not useful for any type of email marketing. So just to wrap up with our takeaways today, before I take any questions, is ensure you have an email marketing strategy. I've covered an awful lot today, and I appreciate that, and I'm not expecting you to do all of it in one go, but hopefully it's given you some hints and tips and just some things to think about over the next coming days and coming weeks. Second of all is using the right tactics. So putting on those good old customer shoes that I always talk about and putting the customer first, because when you think about it from a customer's point of view, it actually makes it easier with marketing and encouraging people to sign up. Make sure you're measuring your email against specific goals, and make sure you're mapping that journey for the customer. And finally, look to improve things by doing some A/B testing. So I really hope you've enjoyed today's session. Before I take any questions, I just want to make you aware of our free consultancy. As always, we always try and give some free consultancy to you. So as always, we're going to give away 2 free consultancy sessions today. All you need to do is go to this free link here, and we will pick random people first thing tomorrow. So you have until midnight tonight, UK BST time. And Evie and I will pick 2 random people tomorrow, and we will then reach out to you and book in a free consultancy session. And that can be used for anything. It doesn't just need to be used for email marketing. You can use it for absolutely anything you like. And while we're taking questions, I'll just leave you on this free resources section. So happy to take any questions, Neve.
Perfect. Lindsay, we have quite a few questions that came through. I think everyone's been really engaged, and we've had some fantastic commentary already through the chat about how useful it's all been. So thank you so much. We had a question from Anna right at the start of the session asking, should you have a sign-up box on your checkout, or should you automatically be subscribing customers once they purchase and then give an option to unsubscribe?
That's a very good question. So first of all, if people are on your website and they haven't purchased, then obviously you want to encourage them to sign up. If they have purchased something from you, then they have purchased from you, so you have the right to email them. But what I would say is, in any of your emails, always put at the bottom, you can unsubscribe via emails at any time, as long as you can justify it to the ICO, so the Information Commissioner's Office in the UK, who inadvertently we've trained, not in email marketing. As long as you can prove to them that you have the data and you know why you've got that data. So, for example, if I'd purchased a skateboard from you, I would expect to get emails from you. And as long as I know I can unsubscribe at any time, and you've told me, as well as purchasing from us, we're going to send you some hints and tips on X, Y, and Z, then that's absolutely fine.
And she did also have a follow-up to that links in about abandoned carts, and how do you email someone if they abandoned their cart? How do you have their email?
Obviously, you're not, I can't telepathically read people's emails, and neither can you. So what I would suggest is, and this is maybe a whole other conversation, is in terms of people getting to the checkout, the first thing I would ask them is for their email address. So when they've got to your checkout, the first thing you do is ask for their email address, because if you ask for their email address, if they then don't go through stages 3, 4, and 5, you've got their email address. So that's the only way you're going to get it. You can't telepathically read it. So it might be that you need to look at your checkout process.
Perfect. And we had a question from Alessandra about if she's in a stage of preparation on her brand, but not yet ready to launch a product, but also looking to raise subscribers. What would your strategy be for that?
Again, a very good question, and absolutely you should be collecting email addresses before you've launched, because why would you not want to do that? And many companies do that. So what I would do is I would be setting up my social media channels. I'd set up a MailChimp or a ConvertKit or a Campaign Monitor account, and on my website, that might just be a holding page for now. Don't just leave it with like 1, 2, 3 or GoDaddy on it. Put a landing page on there and say, this is our brand, this is what we're going to be selling. If you want to find out when we launch or some hints and tips, then sign up here. So I would put an email subscribe on your landing page, and you can ask them a couple of questions at that stage. Why you're interested in our brand, or what your current challenges are, regardless of what, subject to what your brand is and what they sell.
Great. And a question from Namusa regarding the post-purchase email. She asks, is there not a chance that this gets repetitive if you don't have a wide range of products, especially in the case of repeat purchases? For example, people buying the product for a family member a second time around. How do you keep that post-purchase email fresh each time?
There's lots of really good questions today, isn't there? That is a really good question. And Funky Pigeon is a good example of that, because obviously Funky Pigeon, they sell cards for those who don't know. They sell like cards, you can buy balloons, you can buy mugs, you can buy all sorts of stuff. So generally I'm purchasing from someone else. And absolutely, they're not getting it right, in my view. So as an example, if you sell, sell notebooks, for example. So if you sell notebooks, that could be for a gift, or it could be from someone else. You don't want to just bombard them. So think about do you sell other products, or are there things that you can educate them on, like behind the scenes things? So, you know, if you want to know about what we're up to next, or thinking about, we know generally you might know through other purchasing habits that if people are buying a notebook, generally it might last them, I don't know, 30 days or 90 days. So why not think about emailing them in maybe 45 days and going with the email subject, is your notebook getting a bit full? Time for another one. Here's some information. Like some people who love, like I love stationery. This is a very black, boring one, but I love stationery. So if you started to email me about my next notebook, I'd get really excited about that. And probably if you're a stationery brand, then people might do that. So it's thinking outside of the box and thinking about how can I be useful, even if you sell something quite repetitive.
Perfect. And I know you've mentioned a few platforms, but Mark asks if you have any recommendations on email providers, i.e. MailChimp.
MailChimp is the one that we use at the moment. We are likely to be moving to ConvertKit because I've heard lots of great things about it, but it tends to be MailChimp, ConvertKit, or Campaign Monitor. All three of them have their own little intricacies. It's probably best to go and have a look and see what one you prefer. Most of them, in fact, all of them will integrate within your website. So if you WordPress, Magento, or Shopify, they should all integrate, which is exactly what you want. Some have free. So I think MailChimp is free under like 2,000 subscribers. But don't think if you just move to one that you can't move to another one. Obviously, if you've got segmentation and set up, it's a bit of a pain to move, but it's not impossible. So you can always export your data and move to another one if you think, actually, this is really clunky. So maybe give one a go. Just pick one, give it a go, see if it works for you. And if it doesn't, then you can always move.
Perfect. And Ramona asks, should product prices be added in emails? I know that you've suggested moving away from offer-led emails, but is there any time that products prices should be included in those emails?
Absolutely. And I think what I don't want to convey today is not sending any offer emails, because as you saw from the Sports Pursuit, it's all driven by price. So if they said, oh, we've just got a discount on Salomon, I'd want to know what percentage off that is. And especially when it comes to like Black Friday, which we're not quite near yet. If something is a really good offer, then tell me before I click through. And this is the thing with an email, you want to tell me everything before I click through to make my purchase much more likely to convert. So if you have got something that's new, purchase from like £10 or purchase from this, then I would absolutely use the price. Don't be emailing people with a product and don't put the price on it, or don't put the percentage discount. I would never do that. If it is a product, then tell people up front. But it's just getting away from just emailing people the offers all the time that I was trying to convey today. So hopefully that answers your question.
Perfect. And as a sort of final question to close off the webinar, Mandy asks, what is classed as a good open rate? I know that you've mentioned that it does vary, but is there a rate that people should be aiming for?
There isn't really a rate to be aiming for. It really depends on industry. So it depends if it's consumer, whether it's B2B, whether it's business to business. It really does vary hugely. So what I would do in the first instance is just measure against yourself and think, okay, if my current open rate is 0.1, how can I get it to 0.2 or 0.3? So measure against yourself in that instance, because you'll feel better about it as well. So I wouldn't worry about what anyone else is doing. Think about how you can improve yourself. And if it then converts into sales, then you know you're doing a great job.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lindsay. You've been an incredible resource for everyone today. I really appreciate your time. So so thank you to Lindsay in the chat, and we'll let you get on with the rest of your day.
Lovely. Thank you. And if anyone has any other questions, please do drop us a LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram message. More than happy to help you. But hopefully you've enjoyed today. Thank you.
Brilliant. Goodbye, everyone.